this is Datila, and welcome to Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Wednesday, May 8th, 2024, and tonight I'll be talking about AEW Dynamite. Alright, so Kenny Omega had an announcement to make on tonight's Dynamite. Unfortunately, he was not there in person, he was in his hospital bed. Now, during this announcement, he was talking about the attack that he suffered at the hands of the Elite last week. They hit him with an EVP trigger. He was talking about how they were 15 years, they were like family, and he's in the ER. He doesn't want to take the attack personally. The whole point of this announcement is that, this Double or Nothing, May 26th, is a 5-year anniversary of Double or Nothing, the first Double or Nothing taking place in 2019. And he basically talks about the Anarchy in the Arena, which has been a staple of Double or Nothing since 2020, I believe. So it's going to be the Elite versus Team AEW, and two names that he mentions for Team AEW right off the back is FTR, and he talks about how the other two, he couldn't really say, except because this was new to him. But that we would find out later tonight who the other two guys were on Team AEW. And then he signs off in his traditional Kenny Omega signature. He says, must bid them adieu, goodbye, mwah, good night, bang. So later on in regards to this segment, it doesn't surprise me. It's Team Elite versus Team AEW. I'm a little surprised they went with Anarchy in the Arena so quickly. Maybe, I don't think this ends at Anarchy in the Arena. Maybe we might get a blood and guts match out of this. But I was really surprised who ends up being the other two guys on the team. I'll talk about that right now. But what were your thoughts on this segment, on the Anarchy in the Arena match? Like, I remember being there in 2022 and seeing that Anarchy in the Arena match. That was a fun match. So this is going to be interesting. So to close this show, it went into an overrun. The Elite came out and they started talking about Omega. They mentioned Tony Khan and about he's the best boss they've ever worked for. And basically they talk about how, like, the only reason FTR saved Omega was because they don't like, not that they like him, but because they hate them. And so the whole point of this is that FTR comes out and they reveal their two partners. I was really surprised that it ended up being Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston, because I was not expecting them at all. I was expecting, I don't know how about everybody, but I personally was expecting the Motor City Machine Guns. It would have made sense. They have history with the Young Bucks, or should I say they have history with Generation Me, and I felt like they would have made sense in this matchup here. I kind of thought that the Motor City Machine Guns were going to appear at Dynasty and challenge the Bucks. But that's not the case. I wonder if they go to AEW, I wonder when they're going to appear. But yeah, I totally was not expecting Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson to be the other two partners here. And so a brawl broke out. And if he did this brawl tonight, I wonder what they're going to do for the go-home show. But I'm pretty sure Kenny Omega was supposed to be on Team AEW, but because he's not medically cleared, he was unable to be on Team AEW. But interesting choice going with Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson. Let me know your thoughts in the comments or in the live chat, what your thoughts were on them choosing Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson for Team AEW in this Anarchy in the Arena match. Okay, so Dynamite kicked off with an Adam Copeland interview, and he basically talks about his match against Brody King tonight for the TNT title. And he says that, he's just finished talking to Tony Khan and there was going to be a no DQ match. So I was really looking forward to this no DQ match because I knew it was going to be good, and it didn't disappoint. But I'll get into that later. The opening contest of the evening is Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta. And like Trent just brought out his mean streak on this match. Like, not only did he hit a power driver to Cassidy twice, he mocked that, that sequence that they do when they're about to hug. But like he tried to end the match by exposing the turnbuckle and probably sending Orange Cassidy in there, but it backfired on him. Because Orange Cassidy did the same thing. He sent Trent into the exposed buckle, and he ended up winning this match. Now, during this match, Don Callis comes on. He was on commentary, and apparently commentary mentioned that Don Callis was standing and clapping for Orange Cassidy. Last week, Orange Cassidy left with Don Callis. And like today, he stopped Orange Cassidy from attacking Trent. Because like Trent, after the match, had attacked Orange Cassidy. He gouged his eyes, did the pile driver on the steel steps. I'm not even caring for Trent as a heel. And then like Chris Statlander came out and asked Trent what he was doing. So I'm still waiting for Chris Statlander to turn heel here. I'm still waiting for Chris Statlander to reveal that she was the one who attacked Mercedes Monè. Like Trent's heel turn, and I talked about this. Like we kind of, if you remember at World's End, he threw Danhausen over the top rope, even though they're supposed to be like buddies here. So this is probably going to lead to a blowout match, but I'm very curious to see what's going on with Don Callis and Orange Cassidy. Is he going to join the Don Callis family? Is Don Callis trying to recruit him? It would be very interesting to recruit Orange Cassidy into the Don Callis family. I just don't see his character fitting in the Don Callis family. So we see the Elite arrive and take Tony Khan's spot. And then like Jack Perry is talking about how, last week what Omega did to him, like it might be the last time Omega uses all his old moves on him in his hometown, and that they're going to change the world with or without Kenny Omega. So to change the world, that was the original slogan for AEW, change the world. And it seems like they're using that now. We have an interesting interview with Serena Deeb. First of all, I like the fact that interview took place outside near the ramp and not backstage. But I felt for Serena Deeb because during this, like the crowd was chanting "Let's go Oilers," and it seemed like they weren't really into what Serena Deeb was saying. It's not her fault. I don't blame her at all. But she was talking about the seizures, the unexpected seizures she suffered last year. I've never experienced seizures, so I can't imagine what that must feel like. But she was talking about how scary it was and about how people in the crowd, in the building or watching might be able to relate to her. Like, I didn't get what they were trying to do with this. I feel like her mentioning her seizures, maybe they were trying to play her off the sympathetic baby face here, but I feel like it backfired on them because, like she says, and everyone loves Toni Storm. She herself loves Toni Storm. So I'm not sure what they were trying to do with this whole seizure thing with Serena Deeb. I guess seizures are scary. I've seen people here on YouTube that go through it, and I feel really bad for them. Oh, I've seen a seizure. I know people that have experienced seizures. I personally myself have never experienced a seizure, and I do feel for Serena Deeb. I can't imagine how terrifying that must have been. I just don't understand what the whole point of this was. Like I said, are they trying to make her the sympathetic baby face here? They're trying to get people to rally behind her. I just feel like this didn't work for them. Like I said, I feel like the crowd just was not paying attention to what Serena Deeb was doing here. Though they did, then Toni Storm comes out and she's talking about how all she heard was a charity case, and she throws like these little things at her. And Serena Deeb was just like telling Toni Storm she needs to take things seriously and she's going to fight to become women's champion. I don't see Serena Deeb winning the title. That's the unfortunate part here, is that like you're trying to make her sympathetic, it seems, and she's probably not going to beat Toni Storm here. Toni Storm attempts to cheap shot Serena Deeb, but she gets knocked out. I like Serena Deeb. I still want to see Serena Deeb versus Deanna Perez in a 30-minute Iron Woman match. I'm still gonna throw that out there every chance we get into it becomes reality. But I don't think Serena Deeb is gonna beat Toni Storm here. But nevertheless, this was kind of an awkward interview, if you ask me. Like I said, I just don't understand what the whole point of this was. So Orange Cassidy is backstage. He's getting checked on medically, and like Rocky Romero checks up on him and basically lets him know that that if he beats Jay White tonight, they'll get a chance at the trios titles. And he suggests, maybe Ishii or Shibata, and then kind of suggests mending the fences with Trent. But like Cassidy's like, no, they'll figure things out. So again, like I wonder where this is. This is probably gonna lead to a blowout match with Trent and Cassidy. Probably at Double or Nothing. We get Mariah May versus Harley Cameron. I wasn't the biggest fan of this. Harley Cameron tried. She got some offense in at the beginning, a drop kick, a running knee strike. I just wasn't the biggest fan of this. But I did think it was interesting that, Mariah May won. And what happened afterwards, Soraya, let me see. You thought it was a horrible match? Serena and Harley Cameron attack her, and who comes out? Her Mina Shikara. I know I butchered that. I'm sorry. And I thought it was interesting that this is not the first time Mina helps her. Where's Toni Storm in all of this? Are we gonna see Mariah May abandon Toni Storm? I think Mariah May is probably gonna be the one to take that AEW Women's title off of Toni Storm, especially with the storyline that they're telling here. It's the second time Mina comes out to help Mariah May. Where's Toni Storm? Where was she? Why didn't she come out to help Mariah May, her protege here? And then they celebrate with champagne in the ring. So I thought that was very interesting. I feel like this is going to play a factor somewhere down the road. We get a Pac interview, and he's basically asked about Death Triangle, and he says he's not concerned about Death Triangle at the moment. And he's interrupted by the Bang Bang Gang. And Jay White makes it a point to say that the reason nobody is concerned with the Death Triangle is because they're DEAD dead. I said it exactly the way he did. And he mentions Pac's loss against the Okada for the Continental title. The whole point of this is he tells Pac that he should watch his match with Rocky Romero, and he can learn 1, 2, 3, or 4 things about winning. So I'm very curious to see where this is gonna go. They did bring up Death Triangle. We're gonna see Pac rejoin the Lucha Brothers, reformed Death Triangle. They were trios champions before, so are we gonna see them reunite, take on the Bang Bang Scissor Gang? We'll see. We got a Matthew and Nicholas Jackson segment, and they're talking about how the Elite was going to change the world, and they run this video, and they call it a wonderful piece of promotional material, and that they're going to address Omega's comments from earlier in the evening. And then they also are informed that Swerve Strickland's going to go out there. So this leads into the Swerve Strickland and Christian Cage face-to-face. I thought this was a very interesting segment. Some of the things that I want to point out is he talks about how they ripped out his dread from him last week, and he mentions Kendrick Lamar and Drake. I don't I heard about something like that, but I'm not sure what they're referencing. I don't know what happened between them. And last week when he got beat down, he was but alone, and he made it a point to say that he wasn't going to be out there alone tonight. And Christian Cage brings up Swerve Strickland's stupid gold teeth. I thought it was a good segment. Didn't expect Dates of Agony and Brian Cage to turn on Swerve Strickland. I didn't expect that either. So the whole point of this is, like Michael 101591 mentioned, is that Mogul Embassy basically betray Swerve Strickland and they attack him and they put him through the announce table and stuff. And so when they go backstage, Christian Cage says that it was a pleasure doing business with them, and the Bucks applaud the patriarchy. And I believe it's Nicholas Jackson that says it was considered a bitch move what happened to Swerve Strickland, and says it was a great idea. So this was obviously to get Swerve Strickland back from what he said about the Bucks. He said that it was a bitch move what they did to Tony Khan. So this was them getting him back. So I'm very curious to see what led to the Gates of Anarchy Gates of Anarchy to turn on. Basically, what led to Mobile Embassy to turn on Swerve Strickland. Like, I wonder if they were getting paid. I wonder, like, I wonder what happened there. Like, what were they told? And I'm surprised Prince Nana wasn't out there. So I wonder if something happened to Prince Nana. All right, so Willow Nightingale is interviewed, and she's talking about, like, Mercedes Monè. Agony. Yeah, agony. LOL. Okay, butchered that. She's talking about if Mercedes Monè is ready for their fight at Double or Nothing. And she brings up how the last time, let me see, another botch. Yeah, another botch, I know. She brings up how the last time they were in the ring together, Willow Nightingale won. You know, and she became the New Japan Strong Women's Champion. She talks about her accomplishments. She mentions the New Japan Strong title, winning the Owen Cup, and now that she's TBS champion. She feels sorry that Mercedes got hurt. And she talks about how, like, Mercedes Monè might get all the red carpet opportunities, the headlines, but when it comes to professional wrestling, she's going to be the winner. And this entire time, Mercedes Monè hasn't stepped foot in the ring. So they're building this feud with just interviews and segments. And they've done an okay job. Like, the most common thing is that, Mercedes is still mad that Willow, basically, she blames Willow for her injury. So I just feel bad for Willow too. Like, her title reign probably is going to end at Double or Nothing. We get Jay White versus Rocky Romero. Tired of Mercedes, she gets off my TV maternity Double or Nothing. Yeah, she definitely confirmed tonight she's not wrestling until Double or Nothing. So I thought this was a decent match. Again, remember, Rocky Romero won. He would get a shot at the trios titles. That was not the case. He did not win here. Jay White won. And at the end, the Guns attack Rocky Romero, and then Pac comes out for the save. So, it seems again he's probably starting to feud with the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. It was a mid-match to me. Yeah, it was an okay match. We get Big Bill in the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho versus Mo Jabari and Harlan Abbott. I was not a huge fan of this. This was basically a squash match, or as my buddy Lucha likes to say, an enhancement match. I was not a huge fan of this at all. I thought this was pointless. I mean, when I think back to the 8-against-1 handicap match that W. Morrissey participated in back in TNA, it was 8 members of Brian Myers' Learning Tree versus W. Morrissey. I thought that was a fun match. Oh God, Smiley Jericho. But this was not a good match. This was an enhancement match. And I don't think Big Bill and Chris Jericho needed an enhancement match. He should be called the Smiley Tree. And he should have just gone out there and cut the promo that he did after the match. So he botches the city. I don't know if he botches or if he does it on purpose. He says that after he thanks the crowd, he says it was always a pleasure to return to Calgary, but they're in Edmonton, and the crowd starts chanting, "You fucked up." He thanks Big Bill, but the whole point of this, is that Tony Schiavone informs Chris Jericho that Hook returns next week on Dynamite. And according to Chris Jericho himself, we also learned that his match with Shibata got a high rating on Cage Match. Jericho is starting to smile like Raquel Rodriguez and Finn Balor when he was a babyface. Oh yeah, he is starting to smile. So obviously the business between Hook and Chris Jericho is not over. But with Big Bill in the mix, I wonder who's going to be Hook's partner. I mean, like, Hooks has had multiple partners. Dan Housing, Jack Perry, Hook Housing, Jungle Hook, Lion Hook. So very curious to see what happens with that. So the main event ends up being the no DQ match for the TNT title. It was Adam Copeland versus Brody King. Now, Brody King got busted open during this match. And it's no surprise Adam Copeland won. I mean, I don't think Brody King was going to beat him at all. But what did you guys think of this match and in this segment? Best match of the night? I agree. This is a really good match. I enjoyed it. That discus elbow strike and then running cannonball, I was like, oh my god, poor. Or the spike pile driver in the corner. I was like, poor Adam Copeland. I think two of my favorite spots in this match was that Death Valley driver that Adam Copeland did to Brody King on the ring apron, and then that spear through the table. So Adam Copeland successfully retained against Brody King, and Kyle O'Reilly came out to help him after a post-match assault by Brody King. If you guys remember, like, Kyle O'Reilly told Chris Jericho, I'm just botching left and right here, told Adam Copeland that if he needed help with the House of Black, he would go out there and help him, which is what he did. He kept his word. He went out there and helped Adam Copeland. And later on, Adam Copeland's interviewed, and basically the whole point of that is like he's thanking Kyle O'Reilly for the help. And Kyle O'Reilly was like, I scratched your back, now I want a favor. And basically he makes it a point to know that this Saturday in his hometown, he wants to do the Cope Open, challenge Adam Copeland for that TNT title. Adam Copeland says that Kyle did a well played, shakes his hand. So we're getting Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Copeland for the TNT title on Collision this Saturday, which should be a good match. I can't wait. So Mercedes Monè is also interviewed tonight, and she's talking about how we're 18 days away from her in-ring debut in AEW, and that she talks about how she's going to be sitting courtside during the Celtics playoffs. Then on Saturday, she's going to throw the first pitch for the Boston Red Sox. But when she's not promoting AEW, she's in the ring and in the gym every single day. And so she's basically saying that she's ready for Willow at Double or Nothing. And she mentions how, like, Willow took something from her that she'll never get back, and that was time. She lost a year of her career, and all she could think about was that haunting question of why did that happen to her. So basically she says that Willow had the run of her career because of her, and that there's an asterisk over that victory. And she tells Willow to basically enjoy her time as champion, because at Double or Nothing, money changes everything. And that's true. Like, I said this from the beginning when Willow was first going to challenge Julia Hart for that TBS title. I said it that Willow is just going to be a transitional champion. She's dropping that title at Double or Nothing. I'd be more surprised if Willow actually... She better be ready for Double or Nothing. How long are they holding off her debut? I'd be really surprised. I'll answer that right now. I'll be really surprised if Willow actually beats Mercedes at Double or Nothing. I don't think that's happening. But to answer your question, it seems based on this interview, she said that they're 18 days away from her in-ring debut. I don't think she's wrestling until Double or Nothing. Because today's the 8th. She said 18 days. 8 plus 18 is 26. So there you have it. She's not wrestling until Double or Nothing. And I guess they're just being cautious because, they don't want to risk her potentially getting re-injured before Double or Nothing. But like I said earlier, they've just been building this feud with segments and with interviews like this, like I question, like, if is it gonna be a clean finish, or is Chris Statlander gonna turn on Willow and cost her this title? I hope it's a clean finish. I hope that when Mercedes wins, it's a clean finish, and then at the end you have Chris Statlander turn on Willow Nightingale. I think that's the way they should go about it. But what do you guys think? Do you guys see? Sorry, there's an ambulance passing by. I apologize for that. My window's open. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think Willow's actually going to beat Mercedes Monè, or do you guys think Mercedes Monè is winning at Double or Nothing? And if she does win, is Chris Statlander turning on Willow? Let me know in the live chat or in the comment section down below. But it was an ambulance passing by. But I do think that's what's going to happen here. All right, so with that being said, that concludes this review. On a scale from a 1 to a Shawn Spears perfect 10, I thought tonight's show was a pretty decent show. There were a couple things I didn't like. Was not a huge fan of that enhancement match. Wasn't a huge fan of Mariah May versus Harley Cameron. 4 out of 10. Make sure you give it a 4 out of 10. And I'm not sure where they were going with that Serena Deeb stuff. Like, I get it. I guess they were trying to make her a sympathetic babyface, but I think it backfired on them because I feel like the crowd wasn't into that. I'm going to be generous. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. That was a decent show. But with that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And as far as tomorrow is concerned, Bret Hart gives it a 4 out of 10 too. As far as tomorrow is concerned, if you guys watch TNA, make sure you tune into bodyslam.net. Make sure, as me and my co-host Bert Macklin will talk about all things TNA. And then I'll see you guys here Friday after SmackDown. Bye.